Crunchy Life. Hope you guys are all doing really excellent this week. This week's topic, as you probably already know, because I'm the second week, is schooling and what kind of schooling I'm going to be doing for my baby, my little Zeta Pie. And we're actually, me and Dad are, really looking at and really feeling like we're going to be doing unschooling. Or, yeah, at least definitely homeschooling, more on the unschooling side. And there's a few reasons for this. One, public school just doesn't really feel like the best option for me and my family, especially where we live here in Arizona. I mean, I can't say that we wouldn't be in the bigger cities, and I can tell you firsthand, Phoenix public schools are not okay. I definitely don't just want to put her in with whoever happens to be going to school, I mean, every kid, they're big, I almost want to say cesspools, but I'm not going to, it's not what I mean, you know what I mean, it's just a big kind of jumble of every kid that's coming from all different kinds of homes, backgrounds, and different kinds of whatever, moral practices, all kinds of things, discipline practices, and, in our home, being that we are non-violent, non-spanking, talk it out kind of parents, I don't really want her to be subjected to the toxic behaviors and toxic influences that can come from kids that come from homes where they are, getting punished and shamed and stuff like that, Excuse me. Also, we live in we live out of our RV, so we plan to be doing a lot of traveling. And I really don't want to even get her used to, in the early years, getting established, making all these friends, and going to school every day, and then all of a sudden have to get uprooted and moved all the time, or constantly battling and struggling with trying to make new friends and trying to fit in, and you know what I mean, when we're just kind of on the move. But also, on the more positive side of our traveling lifestyle, it'll give us the opportunity to do unschooling, really, really well. Not only are we going to be able to hit up all the museums in Arizona, but anywhere we go. I mean, all across the East Coast, the middle of the country, the West Coast, national parks. We're going to get to expose her to so much stuff. And that kind of ties me into what unschooling really is. Unschooling is kind of different for every family. It's very intuitive, but the basics of it and the basic knowledge and core fundamentals of it is that children are natural learners. I mean, it is not something you have to teach a child to learn. They're always learning from the moment they open their eyes on this earth. They are curious and they want to know. And unschooling is kind of like about giving them the time to want to know it when it comes up naturally for them. You know what I mean? And I feel like, and what I want to do personally is, I want to be aware of what other kids generally are learning at this age, not just in the U.S., but globally. I, want to know what, fifth graders are learning in Germany and what they're learning in Spain and South America and whatever, the United States. What's the standard, and then kind of use that as a basis for what kind of stuff we're going to be doing as a family, So, whatever, obviously in the beginning years, all kindergartners are learning how to read. So, of course, we're going to be teaching her how to read. I mean, me and my sister both learned how to read when we were 3. We were really young. Our parents taught us with like hooked on phonics or phonics something, I don't know, but I went to kindergarten knowing how to read, but that's the general kind of stuff that's happening at that age, and I kind of want to keep her on par with her age range, and so, I kind of got that part down. I'm not planning 10, 15 years in the future from now, but I have a good idea of, and it has a lot to do with traveling and, definitely taking classes. I mean, I'm still a learner. I'm on the internet all the time studying. I love to read personally. I love learning still. My mind is like a sponge and I'm just always looking up science stuff. I learn new stuff about chemistry and physics and astronomy and whatever, cooking, everything, all the time, because it's just interesting. And I really feel like public schools not only they dampen that natural desire to want to learn. I mean, when you have to go in every day at a time schedule that you don't want to go, you have to get up in the morning. And I remember, I'm only 21 years old. I remember going through this. And it was like really miserable for me. Like, I did not want to get up at 7 a.m. I didn't want to go to bed at 8 p.m. to be able to have to get up at 7 a.m. I didn't want to have to sit in the class, and I didn't want to have to wait my turn. I didn't like lines. I didn't like having to raise my hand to speak. These are all things that I don't really know if I want to be teaching my daughter just how to submit, and how to just sit down, do what you're told, listen, don't speak out of line, show respect for authority. You know what I mean? I don't feel like that's necessary. And once you get into adulthood, you know what I mean, and get out of that child state, you don't really have to deal with that crap anymore. And I know that they're kind of teaching you, like, well, when you're big, obviously we all have bosses, and obviously there's laws that we have to follow, but I really don't feel like that you have to subject your children to this kind of um, conditioning to teach them how to respect authority. And if anything, like in my case, it made me want to resist authority. Like, I'm feeling suffocated, and like I can't be myself. Some public schools, even here in Phoenix, are required to wear uniforms. I don't want to do that to Zeta, And I know that she'll learn from me how to learn, and we'll learn together, and I'll be super excited to take her to classes. If she's interested in art, or right now, I know she's only 10 months old, but she is interested in music. Like, this child loves music. And that's something when, her first year of life, she's always been a little dancer. Anytime a beat comes on, she starts jumping around. We have our djembe here. She loves to play the djembe. It's like we have it set up on the edge of the couch, kind of in the corner, so she can walk along the couch and then hit it. She loves to do that, and she can even match my beat. Like, we'll be playing the drum together, and I'll play a beat, and she'll just start tapping along right with me. And we have like a little xylophone thing. Next thing we're going to do is get a keyboard. And that's like right there. That's unschooling. Like, I've noticed her interests. I'm going to use that interest as an opportunity to build on information. It's like, okay, if we're at the museum in New York City, the Natural History Museum, and she's looking at the dinosaurs, and she's like, oh my God, that's awesome. What is that thing? Where do those live? It's like, oh no, honey, those are ancient. You know what I mean? Those are extinct. Right there, we can start talking about, we could go into archaeology from there. We can go into earth history from there. We can go into environmentalism, green conscious living from there. We can go into so many, so much science just right there. And she, when she asked the question from her own will, wow, that's cool. What is that? She's going to absorb that. Like, her brain is like begging for the answer, and when she gets it, she'll know, instead of having to sit down and have this information being projected onto her that she's not interested at all about, possibly even have blocks up to, and then kind of pounding it in there and like forcing herself in there, and then odds are she ain't gonna remember that because she wasn't ever interested in that. That's not how the brain naturally works. I sat through history classes for years and still didn't know crap about history, but once I got older and was like, whoa, I'm kind of curious about what went down, I know history now because I was interested, so I think I'm going in loops here. But yeah, so that's kind of how I feel about it. And I'm in Flagstaff, which is a pretty kind of like, it's a very like kind of crunchy, hippie, alternative, earthy, natural kind of community, and there are definitely Waldorf schools here starting from kindergarten. There's leadership academies and what am I thinking here? Performance art academies here for high schoolers and junior high school and all that good stuff, So if she wants to do that, I'm definitely, I'm just trying to feel her out and, let her be herself. I'm not trying to make her anything in particular. It's really just, I'm so curious to see who she's going to be and what she's going to be interested in, because I know what I'm interested in. And who knows? I mean, I'm like this hippy dippy artsy girl, but she totally might be like, I don't know, a social worker or a cheerleader or a, Christian girl or whatever, and I'm totally cool with that. Tomboy, she might want to be a mechanic like dad. I mean, who knows? I'm just going to be happy to go along and learn with her along the way and just live life, Teach her the real fundamentals. I know I'm at 11 minutes, but shoot, I had one more thing I wanted to say. If you're still with me here. Which is like, I don't want to put her in school to be taught freaking lies. Also, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, but like the banking system and like bank regulations and what money is and like where money came from, the true story about that, which if you don't know, do your research. I'm like drawing up blanks here. The Rothschild family and how they originally started all the global banks and whatever. They don't teach you that stuff in school, you know what I mean? And she's the new generation. These are like the new kids coming up. I don't want to have to teach her or have her go to school just to be taught stuff that's not true and build up this kind of weird, false, half omitted picture and then come home and, whatever. It's like, I want to be able to show her really what life is. You know what I mean? So, that's what I'm doing with school. I feel like I covered it all. I don't want to drag on anymore, even though I could probably talk for an eternity longer, just rambling about my thoughts about school. But yeah, so there you have it. Tune in next week. Watch all the other ladies because we are all doing all kinds of really awesome stuff with our children and doing what's best. So much love and light. I'm trying to figure out, got a new webcam here, how to turn off my webcam.